everybody. Welcome back to our final episode of this now 9-episode series that we are doing together called Catalyze Your Soul's Deepest Embodiment in the Context of Relationships. We are a day late, possibly 2 days late by the time this is posted, so we apologize. But, you know, as we spoke about when we did our new moon reading, this was the full moon in Scorpio, preceded by the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. Earth Day, lots of energy going around, you know, and yeah, we feel ready. We feel ready and eager to share messages of sovereignty with you today. And we were just having a nice long conversation about this before we started recording, which is really this, what we're talking about today is this concept of being able to hold your truth and hold your sovereignty while you're still in intimate relationship or any relationship with other people. And literally, Katie and I were just working through some stuff on my end where I think that one of the things that can come up in this is, but what is my truth right now? I think that's where I had gotten a little lost for a couple days, where I was just like, kind of like just really in my feels and confused. And of course, when we're confused, we know we're in the mind, right? And just kind of like, what is my truth? And I think one of the biggest things that came forward while we were talking was how much of that energy that's in my field or in that statement around my truth is mine, right? Like how much of that is mine and how much of it. And it helped me realize that I was holding on to others' energy, right? Others' energy that had gotten just entangled, right? Just gotten entangled with the clarity of my truth. It doesn't mean my truth changed. It doesn't mean my truth wasn't still there and fully accessible. It just meant that it was a little cloudy and kind of entangled with somebody else's truth. And the first thing that I wanted to do was kick myself, being like, oh, I took somebody's shit on, right? Oh, you know, but that's normal. That's human to take other people's shit on. And it's not about that. It's about recognizing when that comes into your field and coming back into that. Oh, yes, I know. I remember. I know exactly what my truth is. So thank you, Katie, for holding space for that today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It is that remembering, right? I think it's really easy to lose ourselves in relationships, especially new ones, whether it's a new friendship, we just like we're obsessed with that person, right? We're obsessed with their energy. We're obsessed with what they can do, what we can do together, right? And it's a very natural part. And so I think through some of that, like whether it's a newness or just a relation, like even an old relationship, right? We can get obsessed into it and we can obsess over it. And that's where I feel like we start to lose ourselves. And so coming back to that remembering of our truth and untangling those webs that we love to weave in the mind is I think it's a beautiful gift, actually. Like it shifts immediately. Like
It
once
shifts
you
immediately. Yeah. As soon as you have that recognition and you can feel it in your body. And one of the things that I'll say too, as an extension of what you were just saying, is this applies to your relationship with spirituality too. Because I
yes.
know, I mean, that's how you feel, particularly at the beginning of a spiritual path. You're just fucking obsessed with it. You're like, oh my God, I want to learn more. What else can I know? This is so amazing, right? And you get like, you kind of latch on, right? You latch on and you kind of take some of that on, and you can take on that identity of being a spiritual person, right? And forgetting your core truth, which is a combination of your soul and this blueprint it gave to you for this 3D life.
Oh, I love that. Because you're right. It like no matter a new hobby, right? Like anything that you have going on, you can become totally engulfed in it. And it's like, at what point, yeah, at what point is your identity still yours versus
Yes. And I think
letting?
that's a big thing is sometimes, especially if we're having conflict in relationships,
Yeah.
it can feel like, okay, I just need to come to clarity on this, or I just need to fix this in order to blah, blah, blah. And
Mhm.
then that becomes your focus on everything else in my life is good. I just need to like give this more space or clarity or,
Yeah.
intention. And inadvertently that can become part of your identity and part of like your mission. And it's like, is it really meant to be? Is it really meant to be? Or are you getting distracted? Are you getting lost in something? And I think that one of the things that Katie and I were talking about was, I was talking about this guilt I had been feeling, right? And it was this extended feeling that kept coming up for me. And that's not typical for me to have this extended feeling. Now, don't get me wrong, we've been in some special cosmic times, but still, what I was able to remember as I was literally just talking this out to Katie and then had this awareness was like, the longer I'm feeling something, the longer I'm holding on to something that doesn't seem to be resolving or finding clarity naturally, it's the biggest indicator that it's not ours to carry, right? Because we know what to do with our own energy. Our field knows what to do with our own energy. So if you're finding yourself like racking your brain and like, or this is still not passing, right? Could it be really, really deep seated in past lives and stuff? Yeah, but if you give yourself enough space and bandwidth to just be with yourself, that answer and clarity is going to arrive for you. You're not going to sit in this forever. Typically, if you're sitting in it for that period of time, especially if you're further along on the spiritual path, it's not yours.
And that's where like our relationship and having these intimate relationships is so beneficial, because I was like, that doesn't seem like you, right? Like you have been sitting in these feelings for weeks. Like it is why we are a couple days late, right?
Yeah.
Like there's just been a lot of intense energy for both of us, right? But it's always been kind of like, what is still lingering here, right? And so as we were talking before this, it was like, this doesn't seem like your truth. And that's when it all just started being like, oh, and then you came up with that beautiful thing. I was like, yes, right? Because we know how to, we are our own healers. We know how to alchemize what we're feeling. We have our own, we are our own medicine. But having that intimate relationship, to be able to call that out, to have that space held, it helps us remove ourselves from it, the
Yeah.
sauce, right? The human sauce that you call it, right? And
Mhm.
see a different perspective.
Yeah. And I think it's funny too, because in this whole experience, I've been talking less. Like I've been talking less because I haven't wanted to get in the mind, right? I haven't wanted to get in the mind. I just wanted to be with the energy. And I think that part of that can be avoidance, and part of that can be a true honoring of the energy and trusting of divine timing. And that when the conversation was meant to be had between you and I about this,
Yeah.
it was meant to be had because I was then in a space to be able to receive its truth. Because
Right.
I guarantee you, if I had talked to you about what we just talked about 3 days ago, 5 days ago, I would have been in resistance. I would have been in more resistance, and there had to be a softening. And so I think that's the other thing that's important when we're talking about sovereignty, is like really allowing the energetic dance to guide you as well, and realize that it will always bring you clarity, and that you will continue to learn about yourself and have these reminders of, oh, right, now I remember, I know that truth, that the longer that I hold on to something, that it's not my energy. Like we know these things, right? We know these things. And yet being able to graciously return to ourselves after a period of maybe feeling like we were away for a little while or not fully here. And I remember that's something that you had said at some point over this week too, that you didn't feel fully here.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. Even when you asked me if there was anything I wanted to talk about, like, I really don't. And I've asked myself, am I avoiding something? Right. Because it does feel like it's a very easy thing for me just to be like, no, I'm fine. Right. But it also just has felt like I'm here. Like, I'm
Mhm.
here. You
Yeah, and
know,
it's not always like a spunky, yeah, like I'm full on, but
right.
here
Do
and
I
I'm
feel like my full self? Well, I am in this expression right now. Do I feel like really uppity and bubbly and excited? No, right? But and for me, that's like big growth, because I thought that's what the level that we were at all the time, right? It's like I thought that we were expected to be like happy go lucky all the time, right? Um, so yeah, do I feel like myself? There's this acceptance for me right now of just being like, this is me. This is me right now. Like the truth is coming out. It's settling. I just want to be with the energy. It's all moving. It's all happening. And then, having a card pull done, or like I held a full moon ritual for myself last night and then had a card pull done, and it was like they were so synchronistic, right? It was very validating where I just trusted myself to do this full moon ritual that normally I don't hold them every full moon, right? Just kind of when it feels right for me. I trusted that last night. What I was releasing was all around confidence and doubt and right. And then the card that's pulled is beautifully aligned with that, right? And it's like, I'm just here. Like I could sit here going around in circles and circles and circles, right? And I could be all up in my mind on it. But instead, I feel like I've been taking those thoughts and really allowing them to like sink into my heart and
Mm.
like just allow them to be like fully seen, held with love, recognized. Because oftentimes that's all that they really want, just like our emotions, right? They just want to be seen. Um, and then it's like, okay, I did ask, and I have asked myself, am I avoiding something? And right now, I don't feel like I am, right? Like, it feels like, no, this is just where I am with the energy right now, and it's okay.
It
This
is
is me.
okay. And I think it's so important that you're sharing this in the context of relationships as well, because I think we sometimes feel like we need to show up a certain way in our
Yes,
relationships. And, even in your most authentic relationships, there can still feel like this accommodation needs to happen to make sure that somebody, like, if you're weird for a couple days or not fully bubbly in yourself, right? It's kind of like then your partner or somebody who's really close to you is going to be like, what's going on? Like, you just don't see, and they get weird about it or they get uncomfortable about it. And that's not like, you get to stay in your vibe. You get to own your vibe. That's what it's about, is taking that emotional responsibility that Katie was talking about, like letting the thoughts drop it down into the heart, being able to hold it and asking, like, does this feel like truth? Right?
right.
Is
Yep.
this truth to me? Let me feel it in my body. Let me be with it. Whatever feels like truth, let's expand it. Let's be with it, right? Let's speak it. But that's the responsibility that you take for what comes up within you. And you're allowed to stay in that. You're allowed to stay in joy if your partner is not, or if the person closest to you is not. And that is a practice that makes people feel like, wow, I feel callous or I feel like a bad person. And it's like, actually, could you recognize that you're holding a center of balance for that person when
Right.
they might not feel like they're able to, or modeling something or emanating a vibration that naturally elevates theirs?
Right.
Yeah.
That's where showing up just as you, right, is the best thing that you can do for yourself and for your relationships that you're in. Like without the attachment, without, expecting to have a certain outcome or something specifically to be said, or, I don't know. I don't think that it's as heavy as this energy has felt most recently, right? It's like there's just this it's
Yeah.
just like it's just this exhale, and it's like as it's exhaling, I just see it smoothing over like all the bumps and all the things that, right, people asking us how we are we asking how they are, and there's a lot of anxiety and this lot of like attachment and into codependency, right? Like all of the topics that we talked about in this podcast, right? I think we said like, how does this keep expanding for us, right? It just that feels like the energy right now. And so this exhale feels like a smoothing, right? And it feels like a smoothing out of all of these bumps, all of these like hiccups along the way. And it's not to say that it's going to be a perfect flat road going forward, but
Mhm.
there's going to be an ease to it. There's a gentleness, there's a softness to it. And that energy feels really sweet and welcoming, especially since I feel like we've dug up a lot of, like, one of my clients was like, we unearthed a lot of stuff. I'm like, yes, that's a great way to say it, because like there's been a lot of uproaring, upheaving, unearthing, and that
Big
makes our
time.
foundations rocky, right? But now there's like this smoothing, there's this softening,
Yeah,
gentleness.
you can feel that deep breath. Like, I'm just like 100%. It's been like a complete restructuring of our foundation since December 2023. 100%. And we
Totally.
talked about that before here too. And I think that's where some of this sovereignty conversation can feel really shaky for some people, because it's like, but I don't know if I've fully anchored my foundation yet, And it's like, well, you don't have to have it fully anchored yet to start stepping into your sovereignty. It's just about really one of the best ways of taking emotional responsibility is what Katie just said, with bringing a softness and a compassion and a gentleness to yourself. And when you bring it to yourself, that will extend to other people. And when you bring that to other people, when you're holding space for them, they get to be in whatever they're in, and you get to respond just as you've practiced with yourself, with softness and gentleness and compassion, and really just a basic invitation of, does that feel like your truth? Just like you just did for me. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And so I think, holding space is really about allowing that other person to be in wherever they are, and really fully coming from the vibration of, yes, I want all of you. I want all your excitement, all your lividness, all of your sadness, all of your
Bring
vigor.
it.
I want all of it, because as soon as that's seen, it's going to ground, because you feel valued, you feel safe, you feel held, you feel loved. And that's what holding space from a place of sovereignty means, where you can still be in support and connection from someone else, but it is from a space of encouraging and honoring their own sovereignty.
Yes.
I love that. That feels really good. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was boundaries, because this comes up a lot with sovereignty. And it's so important that we make sure that we're not setting boundaries with other people, but we're setting them for ourselves. And this is one of the best ways for you to identify, what you stand for, what you stand in, what you stand on, which is like, what are you available for and what are you not available for? And this is not around, oh, well, this pisses me off and that doesn't piss me off, but it's like, what gets you to that highest level of elation? That's what you're available for. Raise the standards for yourself. Fill out something like that, where you make a list of what you're available for and what you're not, every week if you need to, if you're a very rapid expander, right? Because that's going to change. It's going to shift. Every time our vibration shifts, your boundaries are going to shift. And that means that when you're in relationship with others, they're going to feel the shift. And then the space between is going to shift.
And I don't remember, maybe it was in one of our conversations. I can't remember where I recently heard this, but it clicked for me. It's like boundaries are about your values,
Yeah.
to your point, to your elation, right? But I've seen so many times, and even in the beginning of making boundaries for myself, was I'd made them per person or per situation. And it was like, that got confusing, right? It was like
Yeah.
rule following, right? And then it was confusing for the other person to receive that, because, well, like, which boundary am I stepping over now, right? So when you align them to your elation, like that's the secret sauce right there, because you're going to be so firm in what you believe, your values, that they'll naturally, the boundaries will just make sense. They'll be more natural, right?
They don't even need to be set. That's what's so cool. Like, they don't really need to be. Oh, word, sorry. Yeah, because yeah, I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day, and it was the same kind of thing, where it was like, I don't need to set a boundary with you around anything.
Right.
I'm just going to claim, like, that's just not something I do. Like, that's just not a sandbox I play in. Like, I just don't choose that for myself. And that's not I don't like it when you do this. This is when you do this, this is how I respond. Has nothing to do with them. It's like, oh, that behavior or that statement or that vibe doesn't resonate. Like,
Right.
it doesn't feel like elation in my body. And that's what I have chosen to align with.
Right.
And so, let's do something else, because that's not really, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that I don't want to connect with that person, whatever, but I think it's so important for you to recognize this, I guess, delineation around boundaries, is that it's really about you getting to know yourself more, choosing yourself more, and knowing your truth, and just speaking and standing in it, and knowing that that's modeling for other people. And guarantee you, your intimacy is going to skyrocket when you do that, because you're so clear.
You're so clear on the devotion back to yourself. Yeah. There's no room for questioning it.
Nobody can trump it, because that's the thing. Like, you don't need to set boundaries if you're not available for the conversations or the questions that do not resonate.
Right.
right? And it's just like, I don't need to have a conversation about it.
No.
So, all right. So we're going to do a little sovereignty activation here. We're just going to do some tapping. Okay. So what this is going to do is really just align you to the vibration of sovereignty. And tapping is a brilliant modality. I'm not going to be using all the points. I'm just going to tap on the chest. You're welcome to use 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, 4 fingers. Go as lightly or intensely as you'd like. If you're listening to this on audio only, you can jump over to YouTube if you'd like to watch this on video to be able to follow along. But that's another reason why I'm not shifting the tapping points, because I want to honor the people on podcast who are just going to be tapping your chest with both hands as lightly or as firmly as you'd like. If you want to move your fingertips around to your shoulders, to your face, to your legs, to your belly, to your lower back, feel free. You can tap wherever you want. It's fine. There's no rules here. And we're going to couple this with the breath. You're welcome to recite the statements that I state after I state them, or you can just listen and receive whatever feels good to you. All right, Katie, close your eyes. All right, everybody, let's just take a nice deep breath in. Allow the eyes to close if they haven't already. And let the shoulders fall back and down on the exhale. Another deep breath in and hold it at the top of the breath. And then release with a sigh, signaling to the subconscious mind that we are letting go. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply, allowing your face to soften, your jaw to loosen. Feeling your rib cage expand frontward, backward, and to the sides. We're just going to start tapping on the chest as lightly or as firmly as you like, as fast as you want. And you're welcome to keep your eyes closed or your eyes open, whatever feels good. And you can receive or repeat after me. I am whole. I am one. I feel my truth in my body. My truth will always make itself known. My truth is infinite. My truth is always expanding. And I choose to expand with it. By adopting a natural curiosity about myself. Bringing in gentleness, patience, and compassion. I always know. And I will get to my clarity. I trust divine timing. I trust the energetic blueprint of this lifetime. I trust that my soul and my human are creating together. Keep tapping here and take a nice deep breath. I love myself. I love my truth. I can see through the fog. I choose to lift the veil. I choose to own what I desire. I choose to trust that my desires are divine. That absolutely anything is possible. And the universe is showing me through my desire how much more I'm meant to access. It is safe and it is expansive to access more. to want more, to desire more. I am a divine being of light. My mission is limitless. And I choose the courageous path of being led, of following the subtle nudges of my energy, even when they don't make sense. This is a sacred path, leading me to my full actualization. And I stand tall in my truth, in the presentation of who I currently am. And I own, accept, and appreciate all of me. Okay, stop tapping. Take a nice deep breath in. Release. Just feel the energy in your hands. You may hold your hands together as if you're holding an energy ball, but feel the energy that's been generated. How your body feels. You may feel a buzzing or a numbing, a little dizziness. You may want to sway a little bit. Just keeping your eyes closed here for a few more moments. Allowing the energy to settle and center. Taking a nice deep breath in. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That was magical.
How do you feel, Katie?
Oh my gosh, like on a cloud.
Me too. That was very helpful.
I loved that.
I deeply appreciate that.
I think I'm going to come back and do that again.
Yeah, that was a good one. We get to return to it. So you guys, if you know anybody who could benefit from this, please share the link. And you can tag us if you want at Emerge Healing and Wellness or the Katie E. White on Instagram. And we just want to thank you so much for being part of this series with us. It's been so magical and fun and intense and unearthing and
More
bold.
than and bold and like more than we could have ever have imagined or that we ever like it was bigger than our intention that we set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been really beautiful, and we're really eager to dive even deeper. This is literally just the surface of what we have presented here on the podcast. The depths to which we are diving into this on our retreat is unparalleled, unparalleled. It's going to be tangible magic, and we want you to be there with us. So check out the link. It's in the show notes. And reach out to either of us individually if you have questions. Is there anything you wanted to say, Katie?
No, I guess the only thing, right, is just this has gone beyond our wildest dreams, right? And it's expanded us in new ways. And so to be able to help guide and hold the space, like it brings me to that exhale. I can just feel
Yeah.
it start just get bigger and bigger. Yeah.
And that we're really inviting you into meeting us in it.
Mhm.
Because we're doing this work every day, as you can tell, right? And continuing to expand and garner deeper wisdom and safety and reverence and intimacy, and it's going to expand probably about 25 times before the retreat in September.
Yeah, easily.
So, yeah, easily. So we're just inviting you to join us and meet us in this really just intimate, connective, depth-filled place that is literally our favorite place to hang out.
Yeah, like literally.
But we'll also laugh a lot and have fun and eat chocolate. So there's that.
There's always chocolate, always.
Yeah.
And water, tons of
Yeah.
water.
And snacks, lots of snacks.
Yeah.
All right, friends, we love you. Thank you again for being part of this with us, and we will undoubtedly see you very, very soon. Have a wonderful day.